The governorship ambition of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos, Dr. Adeyinka, got a major boost on Monday as members of the state executives of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, defected to the PDP. The defection was led by the chairman of the SDP in the state, Ms. Dabiraoluwa Adeyinka. Ms. Adeyinka led key members of the party's state working committee to defect to the PDP to team up with the Jandor Funke gubernatorial campaign council in order to actualize the breath of fresh air agenda. Dr. Adeyinka, popularly called Jandor, the governorship candidate of the PDP in the state, received the defectors led by Ms. Dabiraoluwa Adeyinka. Adeyinka noted that there is a need for the party to form an alliance to unseat the status quo in the state. Joining us now on the morning show is Dabiraoluwa Adeyinka, former state chairperson, SDP Lagos. Good morning and welcome to the show, Ms. Adeyinka.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, tell us about this defection. You almost met the candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the studio here. That's Adebayo. And then you just come in almost immediately after him. You just left the SDP. You have joined the PDP. So what's the proposition? Why now?
Why now? That's a big question. Why now? Okay. I think I'm going to start from my journey into politics. It was bettered from NSAS, aftermath, NSAS, and afterwards, when the election period was approaching, I was also approached that it would be better for us to go off the streets and infuse ourselves into politics so that we can make our agitations clear within those circles. And then I think SDP was a first, ladder and a learning phase for me. And it was quite a good experience I had. And at some point, I was also laid back to put measures in place that if we need to, confront a stronghold such as APC, we need something that can equal the match. And do I have that strength? Am I in a place where I can get that strength that I need? Because for me, it's not just about the election for me. It's about the fact that we need a change of status quo, especially in the states where I live in, which is Lagos State. We've had quite a lot of experience as Nigerian youth, and I was weighing my options. Where are the youths tilting towards? And some of the people that really gave me that courage to come out and give my support to PDP in Lagos was one, Funke Akindele. She is of like mind. She has impacted the system, especially the Nigerian youth. She's a known brand. The likes of Banky W, we did NSAS together and all that, and a lot of movements that I can't continue to recall. So for me, there were people that I needed to give my support to, because if you have, we need the youths that we were called the youth of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow, and we are yet to lead in our 40s. So when are we definitely going to start leading? And this cycle of governments, they are in their 70s, 60s, and above. We need fresh air. We need innovations in the system. We need to infuse ourselves into the system. So I felt for me, it's high time. It took me like 3 months to make these decisions.
Okay.
Yes, I've looked through the entire parties, including APC. Yeah. I've had conversations, I've been invited for meetings, and I had to also sit back and rethink. So for me, I think it is the right time for me, and it is a decision that is beyond me, because I relate more with the grassroots people. I have seen events that I find myself in, like the story of Jumoke, Ojota and Co., how it ended, and how the case was going, the Christmas day, the woman that was killed and stuff like that. And I'm like, we can't continue like this. I think through SDP, I got a machinery, but I needed a loaded machinery too.
All right. Okay, so thanks for...
You needed a machine gun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for breaking it down. And your choice is your choice. Like you said, you had a number of months to have a think about this. But some people might want to x-ray your choice of the PDP as a party of option when you're moving away from the SDP because they didn't have structure. And you're talking about wanting a party that's youth-focused and is putting up young candidates. When you say this, are you speaking to just the gubernatorial election, or are you speaking as well to the presidential? Because the PDP's presidential candidate is 76 years old. So if you're speaking for young people and you want someone who would represent young people, I would assume that you'd want to go for a party that is projecting young people across all levels, not just at the state level.
Okay, I decided to downtone my impact in the election into the gubernatorial election. He's young as well. I mean, Jando is 45. Funke Akindele is 45. Banky W is in his 40, I guess. So I am just narrowing it down to the president.
So you're not supporting the presidential candidate?
I am not in for the presidential candidate. I'm focused more on the Jando's movement.
So who you support for president, as a presidential candidate?
My former principal is quite good, intelligent, is the right man for the job, I think. But at this, I mean, the Nigerians, are they ready for that kind of politics?
Who is your former chairman?
That's Prince Adeyinka of SDP, presidential candidate.
Okay. So while before this interview, I had interfaced, and what some people were saying is that you have obviously used your NSAS fame to be able to now become a political window shopper. That's the impression with a lot of people out there.
Okay.
That now, with this, you're trying to renege on the youths you represented, and it's not a game of highest bidder. To the extent that you had talked to some political party in the past, that some of them even threatened you when you finally make this move. What would you say about that?
I wasn't window shopping. I didn't intend to want to be in politics. In fact, Prince Adeyinka, the presidential candidate for SDP, groomed me into it and gave me that support that you can do it, because it wasn't a field that I want to experience. I just want to be an activist, and that was it. Okay, window shopping. It is okay for you to be called for a meeting. It is okay to listen. It is also okay for you to go back home and take your decision. That you are invited to a meeting does not mean you will dance to the tune of, the purpose of that meeting.
So you've been invited to a meeting by the APC?
Yeah, not even the APC inviting me right now. The Nigerian youth, some youths think them infusing themselves into the APC is a better choice for them. And we had an alignment from NSAS. So some of them think, okay, let us see how we can infuse ourselves. Like I listened to the story of Jando, he said, I had to infuse myself into that system to understand the system. So that was the idea for me.
And you were close to making this move to the APC before you went to the PDP?
No, I wasn't.
But you had made considerations as regards that?
No, I didn't.
So why were you threatened?
Threatened, I wouldn't call it threatened yet. People call me and say, we've been looking for you. I've been wanting to meet with you. Why did you take this decision? I wish we've spoken. Can you still make a turn back?
Who called you?
I won't mention names.
From the APC?
Yes.
Okay.
This morning.
No problem, Dabira. Don't worry. Nigerians use anything as a ladder.
Yeah, sure.
From NSAS to politics to Aso Rock. It's okay.
It's okay.
You know, it's part of your privilege as a Nigerian citizen. But let me ask you. We were told that yesterday when you joined the PDP, you went with 15 other executives of the SDP, plus your good self, 16 of you. Just 16 persons? And then you've said it on this program that the attraction is Funke Akindele and also Bankole Wellington, Banky W. Is it supposed to be a Nollywood affair or something bigger? No,
it's not a Nollywood affair, and I don't think they went into the move for advocating for a new Nigeria because they were celebrities. Being a celebrity, yeah, is an edge, but also it also helps to project down to the Nigerian youth. That's one. Two, moving with just 15 people. I've had some of the ESCOs too that reached out to me and said, we were not aware you were making this move, as I was sitting down waiting for my turn, and that's, we trust your decision. We would like to be part of this. And I tell some of them, look, that I'm moving does not mean you should move with me. It's my own personal decision, my personal conviction that I do this. I don't need to convince other people to to go that route with me.
No, I ask that question because when people say they are moving from one party to the other, what they tell us, we are moving 700,000 people. We are moving 1 million people from one party to the other. But in your case, just 16 of you?
Yeah, just 16 of us. Just 16 of us were the ESCOs of the
Do you all
party.
have PVCs?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
All right, okay. So let's talk about the issues. I mean, you've talked about how you align with the vision of the gubernatorial candidate of the PDP in Lagos and his vice. What are some of the things that he stands for that aligns with your
talking
values?
about his ideology in terms of restructuring Lagos, like I also read some of his articles, and we all know, a lot of people in Lagos know that Lagos is more like a cosmetic plan that they sell to us that they are working, but it could have been better, far better than what we are getting. They sell to us, they make it look like, we are enjoying a benefit. It is supposed to be our rights as citizens, as residents of Lagos to live at least 50% of a good life because we pay our taxes. So it is not, and I think that is what he's bringing to the table. And I asked him, because I had issues with believing in him in person. My firm relationship was with Banky W, because I like his courage. Because you're an artist, or you are a pastor, or you are anybody, does not mean you can't be in politics. And we were shying away from that, and that's why today we have mechanics, organizers going into the House of Reps and representing and passing laws.
So what do they stand for?
What they stand for is a Lagos that is working for everybody. A Lagos that is accessible to everybody. A Lagos that, built on the right structure for the average and the poor. The good housing structure that I read about, Funke Akindele also explained some of those to me. The medical team, the ideology of it, the flyovers, the ideologies of all those. So we shouldn't be celebrating in the midst of nothing when we can get abundance of it. So it's more like we were projected to some, like a crumb, and we should just start clapping for it. I think Lagos generates more revenue than any other state from what I have seen so far in my journey in politics. So we can get better.
Right. So real quickly, you've read Jandor's manifesto?
A little bit, because we met a few days ago.
Okay, Justin, so you've not been able to read it and digest it properly yet?
Properly yet, yes.
Okay, so, maybe this question will be after when you digest it. But from the little in the manifesto you've seen, what do you think can be improved upon?
I think it should focus more on engaging empowerment, job employment in the state, and housing and the health sector. It should be projected to the people, because those are the basic need of every Nigerian, things that they cannot afford.
What should it do, precisely? Because you said you talked about housing, you talked about bridges, you talked about other things, and you talked about the fact that he will do empowerment. So what should he focus more? What's going to be your grand plan for housing, for instance? Because you are coming with your 16 members.
The ground plan, the ground plan for housing, for instance, should be affordable housing that people can pay little, even if you are not a civil servant, but the fact that you are a Lagosian and you pay your tax, you can pay little and do instrumental payments like it's done every other place in the country. I've seen houses in Lagos that are owned by the government and people don't live in those houses, and it's more like abandoned houses that can actually, So for me, if they do pay less and own a home, it's a good project that people would tilt to us.
Do you still talk to Mr. Kunle Uthman?
Yes, sure.
How is he about this, your decision?
Definitely, he won't take it smiling at me or hugging me, but it's my own personal decision. It's my call. It's my purpose. So he has a purpose why he wanted to run for governorship. I have my purpose for why I want to be in politics.
What's your purpose?
My purpose is to be able to speak for the grassroots people. My purpose is to be able to speak to power if need be.
Okay, what do you think needs to change in Lagos? Because what Jandor is proposing is change. He thinks that there's a dictatorship that has taken hold of Lagos State, and he thinks that it can make a difference. Now, personally, what do you think needs to change? Because as you speak, the president of Nigeria is in Lagos State. He has inaugurated the Lekki Deep Sea Port. He has gone to a lubricant plant. He has gone to a rice mill. He is today, commissioning the Buru Rail line. And all of that will seem to look good for the incumbent governor, Sanwo-Olu, and by extension, for the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress coming from Lagos. What do you think that special thing that your candidate is likely to bring to the table? Because now Jandor is your candidate.
Yeah. So what I think needs to change in Lagos is a system of, or the impression of godfatherism or ownership of Lagos. When you hear someone owns, even if it's not true, it looks like it, imposing people, imposing people that are inexperienced in the system to run the affairs of the state because they need to answer to someone. So for me, what needs to change is this sense of entitlement to a particular cabal, that whatever we say goes in Lagos is what goes. For instance, we can't even drive safely because we have touts everywhere that are going to be harassing us. You can't even where I was in my party, I've experienced where some other parties post their posters on 3rd Mainland Bridge. And I was like, this is a good one. Before coming back from 3rd Mainland Bridge, all those posters have been removed. And I'm like, this is the height of oppression. It shouldn't be like that. So if, for me, politics is, everybody should run their race. The people will make their choice. Unlike you being imposed on people and you didn't even merit that position. People should be able to choose. We want a change of power, for instance. We just need something different. We need to be able to make our choice and say, we put this person in power so we can call for a demand when we are not, aligning again if you happen to get to the office.
All right, so in terms of youth representation, the grassroots, like you mentioned, and also Miss Funke Akindele, whom you say was the drawing, her and Mr. Bankole Wellington were the attractive, force in the PDP to make you decamp. I'd like you to share with us, your grassroots campaign. How can the Lagos State government better serve those who are underserved in areas that are not, that they don't, so for instance, to talk about infrastructure in certain areas more developed than in other areas, how would you better serve these people, to convince us that it's better than status quo? Okay,
I'll be deviating a little bit, but I'll come back. First of all, when it comes to the grassroots, the local governments are supposed to be representing the people and then taking information down to the House of Assembly, House of Reps members, right? So what we need to do is let there be a communication, because I meet with the grassroots people a lot and we hear stuff like, we vote for them, but they forget us. I've been to places, even in Ogudu, places where I think this is not Lagos. So we need an approach that reaches down to the grassroots, and that is why the grassroots have to be the people that makes the choice of who is governing over them, not imposed over them. Because if, for instance, in a particular area, you don't vote for a particular party, your area will be underdeveloped. You will not be attended to because your area does not vote for the ruling party, the party in existence. So what I think we should do more is engage the grassroots, allow them to have this sense of belonging even in the political, even in this race as we speak. If there can be a door-to-door conversation, meet people. I have a candidate in my former party that started going to communities and started doing boreholes, even though he said he knew he might not win, but he needs to make an impact. A lot of people are suffering. That is somewhere in Cement, close to Ikeja. Imagine people don't have water in those areas because the government was building a road and they destroyed their water line, and they couldn't fix it back for them. So these are the challenges. And I think there's a lot of lessons that have been picked from the present, government, that the government of Jandor can improve upon. And I think that was why he initially journeyed into that part of the the politicking, to understand the rudiments of how they run their things and develop on it. For me, I think it's also a smart idea to come out and say, look, I'm going to do it different.
Okay. A quick yes or no question,
Yeah.
just less than 10 seconds. Would you be using this grassroots structure that you've built from the SDP for gender?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Dabira. We wish you well as you make your own political choices. Thank you for joining us on The Morning Show.